Hey there, Mr. Leatherwood. And
This is Weeks.
that's you. And we're continuing our equivalent fractions week. Equivalent fractions using just numbers this time. So we did models, now we're going to do some numbers.
We've seen the pictures.
We
Now
have
time for just the numbers.
Just the math. Okay. So let's give you a little example here. What did we do? 4/10 on the other one? So we'll use that again. 4/10 is an example. So we're trying to find equivalent fractions to 4/10. And we picked 4/10 because you can kind of go either way on this.
Right.
Okay. So, equals, how are we going to pick a number? Denominator, numerator, how do we just pick it random? What do you do?
No, I think you have to look at what it's either, what are their multiples of that they have in common.
Okay.
Because the big thing is they have to have something in common. So what would you see that's in common with 4 and with 10 that maybe it's a multiple of both of them?
Okay. So, like 2, for instance, since they're both even numbers. So we could do, like if we wanted to, times 2 to get 20. And then, if we know this, I guess we should go ahead and say it. Whatever we do on the bottom, we have to do to the top, right?
Yeah, you have to pick the same thing.
All right, so 4 times 2 would be 8, which we, in the other video, we already knew it's going to be 8/20.
That's right, we did the model so that they could see that when we broke up those pieces, they could see that those were equal.
Okay.
But this time they don't have a picture to look at, so we're just trying to help them with just the numbers.
Right. And I'm going to erase here. Here, maybe it'll work.
You're going to do your big special thing, aren't you?
I am, and
should have known it was coming.
So we started with 4/10, right?
Yep.
And we multiplied by 2/2.
Right.
And we got 8/20.
Yep.
Okay. And I do this, and it's silly, I know, but I think it shows something. Okay? Because equivalent really means the same.
Right.
Okay? And the only way to get a number times something to get that same number would be to multiply it times 1.
Right.
And the reason I think that's important to see is that 2/2
is actually
1. So this number and this number it's the same number. They're equivalent to each other. It just looks different.
Right. Exactly.
And so when we say you need to multiply the same thing on the top and bottom, 2/2, we're really saying you need to multiply by 1.
Exactly.
And you could do it by anything. You could do 4/10 times 4/4.
Right.
Which also equals 1.
Exactly.
And it's going to give you 16/40. 16,
exactly.
Which would also be an equivalent fraction for 4/10. It would also be an equivalent fraction for 8/20.
Exactly.
So as long as you're multiplying, very impressed with my bubble ones. By the way.
Yes, I think they look awesome.
As long as you're multiplying by 1, 2/2, 4/4, 100/100, 6/6, whatever it is, you're going to get an equivalent fraction.
Yes.
Okay, and that's the important thing. Okay. We wanted to teach them simplifying too, right? Or going both ways?
Yes, we won't tell.
Okay. Yeah. So let's do this. Okay. So
Want to start with our 4/10?
yeah, let's start with 4/10.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a second ago we multiplied up.
Right.
Right? By 2/2 and we got 8/20.
Yep.
But it's also important to know that we can go the other way.
Right.
We can simplify the fraction.
But if we're going to make it smaller, since multiplication builds to make a bigger number, we should probably do the opposite operation to make something smaller.
So I'm going to divide by 1.
Okay.
Still dividing by 1. So I'm going to divide
by 2.
By 2/2. And 4 divided by 2 is going to equal 2. And 10 divided by 2 is going to equal 5.
There you go.
Okay. So we can go both ways. You can multiply to get higher numbers. Well, the equivalent numbers, but they look higher.
Yes.
And then we can divide to get to, we call the simplest version of that number.
Right.
Okay.
I like the way you said simplest version. Why do you say simplest version there? How do you know that 2/5?
Well, 2/5 don't have, we talked about factors a lot.
Yes.
In this last unit. They don't have any factors that are similar to each other that I can divide by.
Exactly.
For instance, let's just show the model here for 4 and 10. Okay, we could do 1 times 4 and 2 times 2. We could do 1 times 10 and 2 times 5. These both had 2 that we could divide by, which is really how I figured out what to divide by here. I didn't just guess. I really found a common factor to divide by. So really this, what you're looking for is a common factor. Common factor. So that's helpful.
Yep.
We good?
I think it looks awesome.
So just get some random fractions, multiply by a common factor to get something higher. And then if you can, find a common factor to simplify the fractions. Simplifying, correct me if I'm wrong, is very important because on most assessments, they usually have the simplest version.
Yeah, so you've got to learn how to make that a while equivalent fraction, you have to learn how to divide to find that equivalent fraction, even if in the simplest form.
Yeah.
So.
All right, good luck.
Yay!